Hi, I'm Dana.
And I'm Matthew.
Welcome to the Nat 20 Book Club. We are here today to talk about a light novel called I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, which honestly, beautiful cover art here. Um,
Beautiful.
yeah, by Yoru Sumino.
hmm
Tried to say that correctly.
It's more like Yoru. Y-O gets a yo, like so Roru, Sumina.
The more you know.
hmm
Someone who's actually studied Japanese for
Yeah.
a little
But don't take
bit.
my pronunciations as end all be all because I won't claim that honor.
Yeah, but yeah, so this is a light novel. This is my first light novel. Matt, I
Mm.
know you love to read light novels.
Yes.
So
All the translated works.
yeah, we had been browsing in Barnes and Noble when you were in town a couple months ago, I guess it's been.
Yep.
Um, and this book got brought up as we were browsing, and you were like, "Oh, we should read that together." I was like,
Yes.
"Yeah," and then you're like, "By the way, it's super sad." I was
Right?
like, "Great, can't wait." I love it when a
Yeah.
book rips my heart open.
Yeah. Background on that, more on that story. Basically, I was visiting my parents and I read the prologue, which is like only a page and a half, and I immediately shut the book and turned to my wife and said, "I can't read this here. I need to be home when we read this because I knew from the prologue alone that this was wow, this was going to be a story."
Yeah, yeah. And so I guess we can just go right into what the book is about then.
Yeah.
It's a high school kind of, I wouldn't call it coming of age, but it kind of is a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's about two high school students, Haruki and Sakura. Um, by happenstance, um, Haruki, who is a teenage boy, um, finds out that Sakura, his classmate, has a terminal illness. She's got pancreatic cancer, and she's got less than a year to live, essentially. And Sakura hasn't told anybody else outside of
hmm
her family that she is sick. And so she uses this opportunity to be completely forthright and just open and honest about all of
Yeah.
her dark humor around the inevitability of her death, um, and basically forces him to be her friend. And
Yeah.
it's about like them just having high school experiences together and bonding, and Haruki opening up not only to Sakura but to other people that you meet along the way. Um, I loved this. I sobbed at the
Yeah.
end. It was so good, so heartbreaking. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, it definitely hits the nail on the head of the like you're trying to figure out not coming of age. It would definitely be classified as like a slice of life in Japanese media,
Yeah, yeah.
slice of life novel where you just like in a lot of ways it's so real. Like
Mhm.
you talk about Haruki is a they're 17-year olds. They're in their second to last year of schooling before they go to college. And he is someone who doesn't need people, doesn't need friends, and he has his books, he has his world, and yeah. And I love the fact that the only reason he got himself into this mess is because he was too nosy and had there was a lonely book left at the hospital. Let me open it. Oh, I don't recognize this cover. Let me open up the inside. And yeah,
Yeah, it
wow,
turns out to be her journal where she's talking
yeah,
about dying.
yeah. She Sakura is making a journal when she found out like she's known for several years that she's going to be dying.
Sick, yeah.
That
Mhm.
she's sick, that there's nothing that they can do for her current terminal illness, but the doctors have made it to where she can have a normal life without showing the symptoms. And she's titled this journal "Living with Dying." And yeah, you mentioned dark humor.
Yes.
You talk about being willing to throw one-liners. I think the craziest thing is the rope scene where they go by the rope and they tell when they're talking to the poor hardware store employee, "Hi, again, if you don't know, our channel has full spoilers. So if you don't want to hear any of these dark humor spoilers, stop now, or at least skip ahead 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It was like, ask the person, like, "Hi, I'm looking for a rope to commit suicide, but I don't want it to leave marks on my neck. Could you please provide me the best rope option for that?" And then he just plays along and says, "Ah, yes, she doesn't have much long to live. Like, just ignore her. She's going AL in the head." The employee
Mhm.
just walks away stupefied.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is the kind of humor or things like that that is go on.
Mhm,
Because when you're living with dying, it really doesn't matter. And
mhm.
she's just like, I just want to say things. I want to eat
Yeah.
things.
Yeah,
Oh,
which,
food.
um, it like, that's an interesting theme-ish, I guess, that runs throughout the novel is like she is very much so like keeping her because she's keeping her illness to herself. It's kind of like how she is doing her best to keep her identity the way she wants it.
Yeah,
Because I think if you do start telling people, I'm gonna die in 6 months, they inevitably treat you differently and you become the sick dying girl instead of
absolutely.
my friend Sakura.
Which
So
which which
yeah.
she explains multiple times that she wants
Hmm.
to hang out with her friends and as normal friends, like to go out with her girlfriends after school, go to coffee shops or whatever. Doesn't want them to start treading lightly around her because she has said that her family does that. Her family
Hmm.
like she now can use it to advantage by saying like, well, I'm gonna die soon, and so they start crying and they give her whatever she wants. But like she doesn't want that from her friends. She wants to live a normal life. And then
Yeah.
comes our main character, Male, who's like knows the secret, but now she can be her true normal self. She can have her normal life of what it's like to be a high school student in their second year of high school, which in
Hmm.
Japan is the equivalent to our like junior year in high school.
Hmm.
And but then she can go be with him and be the normal. I'm dying of a terminal illness. Let's make the most of this.
Hmm.
And it's she gets the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I thought it was so funny when, like, one of the things she wants to do is like go on an overnight trip with a boy,
Yes.
right? So she convinces Haruki to do that with her, and she like well, I think she actually told her parents she was going with a
Yes.
female classmate instead, but she did dangle the "I'm dying, let me go" to her
Mhm.
parents to let her do that.
Yes. Because not
Um,
many parents will let you take a like an overnight weekend trip to another prefecture, in the middle of the school year, even if it
yeah,
is getting close to summer.
yeah. Yeah, so I thought it was just fun. And it was so weird because like I found myself as I was reading, like constantly, you're constantly reminded this girl is going to
Yeah.
die. And still you're like, "Oh, I can't wait for the next adventure they go on." Like and then
Yeah.
you're like, "Oh shit, she's gonna die." The next page you're reminded again. And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Oh, it was like emotional whiplash sometimes, but in the best way possible."
Okay. And when you're talking about like oh, what's the next adventure? Then oh, that sudden reality check. Wow, she is going to die. Gets
Yeah.
to the twist at the end of the book, or I would say not even in the book, with like I think it was the end of chapter 8. I think there was two or three more chapters at the end, where all of
Mm.
a sudden she goes into a prolonged hospital stay due to some complications. He's been visiting her, but she tells him not to worry. She's fine, and they have a date to set up where they're going to go meet each other the day she gets released from the hospital. And you found out she died, but not from her illness. From the foreshadowing they mentioned in chapter 2 of the random stabbings that were happening in another prefecture. She is randomly stabbed on her way to the coffee shop.
Oh, it hurts so much. It hurts so much.
Wow, you
It
talk about
really
a.
did. That was one of the most incredible plot twists I've ever
Mhm.
experienced, which, as soon as I saw that she had been stabbed, I was like, fuck.
Yeah. I went back and reread a couple of pages. I was like, wait, who? What? I didn't
Oh,
believe it at
that's
first.
why that detail was in there. Yeah.
Like they mentioned they talk about like he was watching the news one morning that someone was stabbed in the prefecture, and I thought it was just to play off their conversation because she had told him like you could die tomorrow, like and
Mhm.
like don't treat me like this because I know I'm going to die within 12 months. I could technically outlive you. And I thought that was supposed to be the play on their morbid conversations of,
Yeah,
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 like I could get hit by a bus, I could be
yeah,
stabbed randomly. Not
yeah.
that that was a foreshadowing of her who thinks she knows when she's going to die, and she still didn't, because they made promises about, she had given him a book that she likes, and she's not a reader, he's a book person. So
Mhm.
he found interest in this book, and he made this big deal about, I only read books in the order that I buy them, which more power to him, I can't live like that.
Can't relate. No.
And so he's like, but I'll make sure to read it before you die and give it back to you. And she had said some other things, and they she had told him, like, I'll let you know when I'm going to die, when the time gets near. And he's like, well, we both broke our promises, because she was stabbed.
And like that's like the whole point of this book is like,
Hmm.
yes, you have to live every day like it will be your last. Because even if you do know you're going to die in 6 months, that doesn't guarantee you have 6 months.
It means your
And
body's going to die in 6 months. Doesn't mean you
yeah.
will survive 6 months.
Hmm. And it's just like that was the lesson I think that this book was trying to get across, really. One of them, anyways, the biggest one in my opinion.
Hmm.
And yeah, oh wow, it just hurt a lot. It hurt a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so after she dies, he doesn't go to the funeral. Like he can't get himself to go to the funeral. Like it's too much for him,
Hmm.
and it takes him like 10 days after to finally go to visit her parents' house, to get the Living with Dying book that
Book
she had written. Um, and the mom knew exactly who he was. She said, like, yeah, my daughter said that you
wouldn't come to
wouldn't
the
come to
funeral.
the funeral. And
At
it was
first,
just
she
like,
didn't. And
yeah,
when he asked about the book, that's when she knew who he was.
yeah.
But yeah, she was like, ah, yes, you weren't. She told me you weren't going to come to the funeral, and under
Hmm.
no explicit circumstances am I to give this book to anyone but you.
Yeah. And then I was just like, the fact that they got to know each other that well within
Hmm.
that short a time, I was just like, that made my heart very happy, first of all. I was like, oh
Yes.
man, they really loved each other. Um,
Hmm.
and then it makes it so much more bittersweet, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, and then like after he read Living with Dying, his reaction after it, when he finally let himself mourn,
Hmm.
that is when I started sobbing.
Yeah.
That hurt a lot.
Reading her letter to him,
Oh
um, another
man.
foreshadow thing that the author did excellent. Talking about, oh yeah, I have like 6 to 12 months to live. I should start drafting my goodbye letters, and so you get to read the unedited draft version of the letters, because again, she was supposed to have this nice, organized, clean, like, so it was a lot of raw emotion that probably wouldn't have been necessarily in the final. And
Mm.
so yeah. What I thought was nice, you talk about also character growth, is that we had mentioned that Haruki was very much, he wants to be he's by himself. He believes he doesn't necessarily need other people. Not that he hates people. It's not like I hate the world, but he doesn't see the reason to need to interact with it,
Mhm.
because he has his books. And she's the opposite, and they describe each other quite often as opposites. And she's like, I'm no one without the people around me. And it's really fun when you get his internal monologue when he realizes that he wants to be like her. He wants to start experiencing the world. Like, he caught himself for the first time in his life people watching and understanding people's facial expressions and emotions, and he wants to be like her. And then you read her letter to him, of where he taught her that she can have value without having other people around.
I'm
That
gonna
she
start
wants to
crying
be like
again.
her. Sorry, Dana, but it's like the
It's so good. It hurts so good. Oh, but yeah.
well, we can move on so Dana doesn't
Ah, no,
start
no,
crying.
it's so good.
Uh,
Oh man, it was, yeah, crazy. Like the use of foreshadowing in this was amazing.
mhm,
Excellent writing. I loved it. Ate it up. But yeah, that letter that she wrote to him, that that's gotta knife in my heart for
Yeah.
sure.
My
Yeah.
my favorite thing is also the real. Because they only knew each other. They've known each other for a couple of years. That we learn through her narratives of like her day to day. That says she's for a while has wanted to get to know him because she's interested in this person who doesn't need people. And
Hmm.
and she said that they were in class their first year of high school together, and she was like, "Who is this person?" But they don't really know each other except for the last 4
Hmm.
months when
Yeah.
they have the meeting at the hospital. But my favorite thing is about all this is that 4 months. So you're talking about going to this is how where I'm going with this with the letters is his letter was so much longer, and I love the footnotes and the commentary she put in that
Hmm.
her best friend Kyoko, I believe, um, letter was half the length, and she's like, "I'm gonna have to fix that thing. She's gonna be mad.
He's
That,
gonna be upset about
she's gonna
that.
be upset that your letter's so much longer
Yeah.
uh
Yeah.
than hers." But I think this is a fun time to pivot into the fun reaction on talking about said best friend and Haruki's relationship. Oh boy.
Yeah. So, so Kyoko does not like um Haruki at all. The first time that she sees Haruki and Sakura together, I think is when they're at a sweets shop.
Yes.
They go to this little dessert cafe, which it looks like they're on a date, and
Hmm.
so Kyoko immediately goes into protective best friend mode
Yeah.
and is like, "You're way too good for him. He sucks. He's a weirdo. Like, what are you doing?"
He doesn't have any friends. He only reads
Yeah,
books. Like,
yeah,
why are you associating with this individual? Let
yeah,
alone eating at this girls only slash couple only like cafe.
yeah, yeah. And like over the course of the 4 months um, that this book takes place, you see Sakura try to get them to be more friendly with each other. And she specifically asks Haruki, like, after I die, become friends with her, please.
Yes.
She wants her two best friends to be friends with each other.
Yes.
And yeah, that that does happen
That does happen. Spoiler alert,
eventually.
yes, they do. And I think it was nice to see that it wasn't a romantic relationship either. It's
Mm,
just two friends enjoying their senior year, uh,
yeah.
their third year of high school, like the summer before entrance exams of college. Um, just living life, remembering her. But
Mm.
I do love his descriptions for her. Multiple times he describes her as a wild animal, that I'm being
He
glared
does not
down.
like her at all.
And Sakura has to say multiple times, "Can you stop treating my friend like she's some wild beast?" And he's like, "I can think of no better description."
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's so funny.
my favorite part is when you get to read like the day to day part of her journal. Is when she was like, "So I've been purposely making them to like cross paths with each other, but since both of them independently have said to please stop this, I will now have to schedule separate times for them to come visit me."
She wanted them to be friends so bad.
Yeah.
It was so fun. Yeah. And it was like heartwarming to see in the very final pages that they did become friends and they went and visited Sakura's grave together and
Mhm.
um yeah, it was a nice ending to a truly heart-wrenching book.
Yeah. You see the growth on him because he clearly has made friends with
Mhm.
her, and he's made friends with another boy in their class, and
Mm.
they make it sound like he's starting to build relationships.
Yep.
It's hard, one day at a time. Oh, talking about that best friend. Also, what talk about you having? She just lost her best friend, um, Kyoko, and now the boy that she hates because he's spending time with her inexplicably calls her out suddenly and hands her a book that says, "Hey, your best friend that died would have been dead in 6 months anyway."
Yeah, it's rough, buddy.
That's rough. Like, we don't have to go into it, but I was like, but just to give
Mm.
our lovely viewers, like, just to imagine, like, he was
Yeah.
like, "Man, relationships are hard because how am I supposed to do this?"
Yeah. Oh, that's something else. Like I don't remember if Sakura told him in the book to share with the rest of their classmates and friends, or if he just took it upon himself to do it. But like, yeah, that's why he was like, I don't know how to tell everyone that she was actually going to die anyways,
Yeah.
because he had decided to share the book and the letters, other letters that she had written to other people with them, and he was like, how do I go about doing this? And I think Yoko was the first one he did, and
Yes. Yeah.
he just
If I
maybe did it in a worse way.
I get the idea of a public setting for someone that you don't know well, and she doesn't know you well, but maybe a public setting wasn't a great time to
Yeah.
completely break down someone's emotional walls. But I do believe that Sakura said it was up to him. He can share the book, he can burn the book, he could
Okay.
ignore the book, he could throw it away.
Mhm.
She had wanted it to be shown to anyone who wanted to see it, but she left it all up to him, which is also crazy because you think about like her family, like probably would want to keep the book as a keepsake as well, but
Mhm.
she was like, no, this boy that I have spent the last 4 months of my life living out what I think is the best way to live. And her mother was very appreciative to him because her mother said you could see that she used to cry often, and even from a little girl being a little bit of a crybaby,
Mhm.
but like with the diagnosis, a lot weighing on her. But just saying, like she just didn't cry nearly as often since they had interacted, which was also
Yeah.
heartbreaking to hear. Like that her mother and his interactions was like also,
Yeah. Yeah. The last like 60 pages or so.
yeah,
Maybe not that many. But yeah, you if you
rough.
do pick this up, you might as well just be sure to have your tissues ready.
Hmm.
Maybe a nice blanket to like curl up under.
If you have someone you can call to come give you a hug, maybe have them on
Yeah.
standby.
Yeah. If you start contemplating your life and how you want to live it, like I did after the book, that's also a good thing to do. Call a friend and be like, hey, what if we died tomorrow?
Oh.
Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, it was a great book. Okay.
So, Dana, on a scale of 1 to 20, what would you give this book for our viewers at home? 1 being a nat 1 or an absolute failure, 20 being a critical success where you automatically get what you want, like you do in D&D when you roll a D20 die. What is your rating? What did this book roll on your scale?
Um, I'm gonna give it an 18.
18.
And then I'm gonna say I have a +2 on my charisma ability, so I'm gonna give it a dirty 20.
A dirty 20. A natural 18 with a +2 modifier for a dirty 20. So, that's.
It was fantastic. I'm not gonna give it a nat 20 because it did take me a little while to get used to the writing style.
Mhm.
And maybe it's because I've never read a light novel before.
Yeah.
And then also another thing that we didn't mention, but Haruki is not named. He is an
Yes.
unnamed protagonist for 99% of this book. Um,
Classmate, I
so
get along with Coon.
yeah, so it took me a while to get used to that
That's fair.
and to sink into it. But again, 30/20. It was amazing. I really enjoyed it. What about you?
Well, I've been thinking about it. I think it's gonna get me a nat 20 for me, like a straight nat
Yay!
20, no modifiers, and that is because the I think the author did a great job with foreshadowing events, like pulling like,
Mhm.
but not harping on something where you're like, okay, this is significant, but not like, wow, you pulled that one line from 3 chapters ago. That's kind of a stretch, and like made it like very. We mentioned that this is in the genre would be like slice of life in Japanese, like totally nailed it there. Like very much slice of life. Like you could relate, and it doesn't matter if you're a high school student, if you're in your 20s and your 30s. I think all it's an important lesson regardless. Like this was
Yeah,
told from the story of 2 high schoolers. So yeah, their troubles and woes were like making entrance exams and going to class, but like
yeah,
the message is still there. It is like we only today is promised beyond nothing else. You know, you only have this moment. So It did a really good job of just getting you to think, and excellent storytelling. So that is why I'm giving it a natural 20. Um, of
Yay!
of light novels I've read, it definitely ranks up there. It isn't important to note that this is also a standalone novel. A lot of light novels tend to be series,
Mhm.
and this is not. This is a standalone, so you don't have to commit yourself to reading like 20 books to get the whole story.
Yeah, and it has been adapted into a manga and anime.
Yes,
If you prefer those formats better, I haven't
absolutely.
read the manga or seen the anime,
And
so
I had held
if
off
you
on
do,
the anime because I knew I had the light novel. I wanted to read it first.
okay, yeah, same. um, but yeah, if you read one of those other formats or if you watch the anime, let us know and let us know how it compares to the light novel. But oh, that's so exciting! Is that our first Nat 20?
I think that was the first straight nat 20. I think the
Okay.
first. I think I gave something a natural 19 with a
Oh,
like
and you took a
fighter
feat.
with a fighter modifier that 19s are critical successes, but I didn't want to give it the 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Legends and Lattes. So,
Yes, Legends and
mm,
Lattes. Yes.
okay.
So
Well, this is exciting though. First Nat 20.
for first nat 20, it hit everything that you ever wanted. In my opinion,
Mm,
of a good read, and it wasn't like also an exhaustive read. Like
mm.
it isn't 600 pages of deep lore and background. Like
Nope. It's little.
it's little and with average size font. I don't want to show it so we don't get copyright striked. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you read I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. Oh, we never explained what the title means.
yeah. So if you're still here, if you're still here after all this, I want to eat your pancreas. It goes to an old legend myth. I'm not sure if it's something that's Japanese specific or if it's Asian specific, how it is, but basically, if you have something wrong with your body, you could gain new life or new health by eating a healthy version of that. And the story starts with her asking him or telling him, "I want to eat your pancreas,"
Mhm,
as a way of saying like, "I want to get better." And that starts the morbid conversations of jokes back.
mhm. And it absolutely wrecked me when he texted her, I
Yes,
want to eat your pancreas.
yes, yes. No, it was.
Oh,
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 it was a great book. There's so
great
many
book.
things that we didn't talk about. Little tidbits. We didn't even talk about the overnight trip. Like we mentioned that there was one. Like just read the book
It
for
was good.
yourself.
It was good.
Leave your
Yeah.
comments if
Yeah.
you read and you have things that you like about the book. Yeah,
Yep. Let us know what you thought. And join us next time. Don't know what we're gonna read yet. It'll be a surprise.
it always
Um,
is at this point.
yeah, no kidding. But thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you have a great day. See ya.
Bye.